Hello out there, board game fans. It's me, Undead Viking, coming to you with another video review of a board game I've been playing quite a bit of lately. The board game in question is Drumroll from Artipia Games. Before I get into my little introduction here, I'll just give you the nuts and bolts of the game. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of the designers, but it's Konstantinos Kokinis and Dimitris Drakopoulos. It's the best guess I have. It's from Artipia Games, and if you're going to play the game, it handles 2 to 4 players, and can last between 90 minutes to a couple hours. After you played the game a few times, though, you're really going to come in on that 90-minute length, which is perfect for a game like this. But I'll get into that more in a little bit. This is a game, thematically, where each player is running their own circus, and while you're running your circus, you have to hire performers, hire personnel, outfit your performers, get them costumes, sell tickets, sell popcorn, have a band, all kinds of stuff that goes along with having a circus. And in the meantime, while you prepare, you spend several rounds preparing for the end of the turn when you have your performance, and then you get judged by how well that performance goes, and then you move on, as circuses do. You travel on to another city, and then you do the same thing over again. You hire more people, you expand your circus, and so on and so forth. And you do that 3 times. The game lasts 3 turns, and there's several rounds in each turn. And then at the end of the game, obviously, in most games, the person with the most points wins the game. I'm going to show you how to play the game, like I always do. And then I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about the game when I get to the conclusion. So let's just cut the conclusion short here, and I'll show you how to play the game, and then we'll see what I think of it. Here's a spoiler. I like it. All right, here we go. Okay, this is the game board for Drumroll. It is a very colorful board. It's got lots of cool graphics on it. Don't let all the busyness of the board fool you. The game is very simple, and it's really easy to learn, but it's tough to master, if you will. Seconds to learn, lifetime to master, that kind of thing, or whatever. But I'm probably exaggerating a little. But anyway, I like game boards that go the extra mile to make things colorful and nice to look at. I will admit, the first time I saw this, I was like, whoa, this is really busy. But when you realize this is a worker placement game, and there really are only these few slots to put your workers, which are these colored discs here, you'll realize the game flows really simply. Obviously, the scoring track is on the outside, like many games. This is the turn order track. Each turn has a certain number of rounds. That actually gets sort of determined by the players. Once you get to the 5th round, you actually vote to see if you'll continue. Just touching on that really briefly, once you hit the 5th round, you all vote if the majority rules, if ties are broken by the first player. If you decide to go another round, you'll go to, obviously, the 6th round, which, whatever. And then if you vote again and you decide to keep going, you'll go to the 7th round, which will end that particular round of the game. And you'll notice there's a little -1 there. So anybody who voted to go to the 7th round actually loses a victory point. But sometimes people will do that just because they want to make sure that they can actually get their circus up and running or earn more points or whatever. So sometimes taking the negative point is actually worth it. But anyway, and this one just marks which turn of the game it is. So there's rounds and turns, and the game lasts 3 turns. Thematically, what you're doing is the circus is putting on 3 different shows in 3 different areas of the world. So you have these larger cubes here that denote for each color, and you have these larger cubes here that follow this track for when you sell tickets, and I'll explain that in just a moment. To play the game during a round, each person takes a turn placing one of these discs on one of these locations. There are limitations on them, however. You'll notice over here, pretty simply, you'll see these colored cubes. By placing a disc on one of those spots, you'll get to collect that cube. And then what's interesting to note is that depending on the number of players, let's say we're playing a 4-player game, Once you filled this number of spots equal to the number of players you have, you can no longer choose these actions. So red on the next turn couldn't go ahead and place that there because 4 of these 5 spots are taken and only 4 of them are available in a 4-player game. If you decide to go here, you actually go and sell tickets. What you do is you take your marker, like the red here, and you just move it over to that 2. And then you get 2 coins. You know, these little cardboard coins. I'm not a big fan of cardboard coins. I replace these with poker chips, but you know what I mean. You follow this track like this: 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, to a maximum of this. And each time you move up, you sell those tickets and you make money. Money can be hard to come by, and a lot of times people will use that location because it's the only way they're going to be able to make their money. Unless they can get performers for their circus, they will make them money if they get them the right cubes to help them earn that money for them. And I'll explain that in just a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I apologize, but just bear with me. You can do this twice each round. So this, you can only these spots can be only used once. This one, each person can use it twice. So red could end up selling tickets twice. But remember, you only get 3 actions. Here is called investing. For 1 coin or $1 or 1 gold piece or however you want to call it, you can draw a card, which is one of these investment cards. Investment cards, much like lots and lots and lots of other games, are just ways for you to bend the rules in your favor. Like say this card, for example. You can trade in any color cube for 2 green cubes. And it just automatically happens. You can do this at any time. You notice at this point up here, this thing that says 1 up here, if you hold on to this card throughout the entire game and you never use it, at the very end of the game, it'll be worth a point to you. So, and these can be very helpful when you do these cards like this, voting whether or not the round continues and so on and so forth. You can play this card, and it is worth double that vote and stuff like that. People end up taking a lot of these just because they're kind of fun and they're kind of cool, and they have surprises, obviously. And as I said, you can do that twice as well. Now, these last 2 locations down here, this is hiring, like basically a generic worker, a personnel, for your circus, and this is hiring an actual performer. Something like you can see this guy's getting shot out of a cannon or whatever. That's where you're hiring your lion tamers and what have you. It's important to know, like, if people choose this location, like so, yellow would get to pick first, green would pick next, and red would pick next. And you're saying, pick who? And I'll explain that in just a moment. Both of these locations can only be used once per player per round. So you can see that like you have to kind of pick and choose what you're doing, and with only 3 actions each round, you only have so much available to you. Now, the performers and the personnel, this is where the game actually starts to you start to actually realize how this game works. This is all very, very straightforward, and normally you'd say, well, it's just worker placement. You're picking things and you're getting them. It doesn't seem all that new or interesting. Well, here, first of all, before I show you the performers, which is like probably the coolest part of the game, I will show you these. These are the personnel. Now, personnel, just once again, it's just a way for you have extra people that'll do extra things for you, like the general supplier. Now, normally, and I'll show you this in a moment, but when you earn cubes, you're only allowed to place 2 cubes onto your performers, and that's how you actually get them to do better for you and have better shows for you and whatever. However, like the general supplier, he will allow you to move 3 on there. Pretty straightforward, right? I don't know why he's got a clown nose, but whatever. And you'll notice this 3 up here, that's his hiring cost. So if you decide to choose this, you got to pay 3 coins after you get to select him. And you notice this over here, this is his income, meaning that at the end of each turn, you have to pay him this or else he'll leave you. And then you suffer a negative action because of that. You can't just not pay somebody and let them walk. It actually does have a negative ramification. Other cards you have are like these agents. And once again, kind of like that card I showed you that was one of those before that you can draw, those investment cards. Like this guy, he can take any cube and he can turn it into any white or a blue cube. Now, there's tons of these agents in here, and also let me find one more. Ah, yes, here we go. The personal assistant. And then you can see he will take a red cube, and he'll turn it into either a green or a blue. So you can see that these guys are able to be used by you once you've finished off your turn, and you're able to go ahead and transmute your cubes, if you will, into something that you actually need instead of just having to stick with what you grabbed. All right, now let me show you how the performers work, and I'm going to kind of clear off the table and show you that because the performers are kind of neat. All right, let's do that. Okay, this large deck here is the performers. Now, this is the bread and butter of your circus. Without these, nobody would come and nobody would watch anything that happened at your circus. If you just had a big tent and popcorn, you might get one or two people, but people come to watch these things happen. So, you'll notice that, like, on each one of these cards, there is a type of performer up here. This denotes this is a gypsy. Over here, you have a hiring cost. Over here, you have their income, and you can see down here, you can see there's these colored cubes, and like each one of these is like that. Well, a trickster, you can see this is a magician. He costs 3, his income's 3, some cubes, and you'll notice that on the bottom there's these symbols down here, and I'm not going to explain each and every one of those symbols, but this is a game that has a few symbols to it, so it might take a little bit of learning, but there is a really nice reference in the rules for everybody to look at if they want to. Now, if you'll notice, like, let's look at this trickster here. You can see that there's this 3, and that's how much. If you want to hire this guy, he's going to cost you 3, and his income is 3. So every turn that you have him, you're paying him 3 coins. Now, if you notice over here, this denotes that if you actually get to flip him, and I'll explain that in just a moment, you'll get 3 victory points for doing so. And you'll also notice that, as an added bonus, each magician allows you to increase your hand limit by 1. Normally you can only have 3 cards, but each time you have a trickster within your circus, he increases your hand limit 1. So you notice down here, there's a yellow cube, a blue cube, and a red cube. And underneath here, you see that there's these little rewards down here. What these are for the trickster, these are investment cards. And that means that if you have a yellow cube on him, once you've done your performance, he'd earn you an extra investment card. And under here you see you get 2 investment cards and keep 1, and here's 3 investment cards and keep 1. And you'll notice there's also this 2-star performance and 3-star performance. What you need to do is you need to fill up this card with a yellow, a blue, and a red cube. Your goal in this game is to get these guys to earn you victory points. That's pretty much the only way you can get victory points. I mean, there's other ways, yes, but this is the main way. And if you were able to flip them, what happens is you get these 3 victory points. This person would continue to give you that +1 card, but you notice there's no cubes down here. There's no reason to use them. And over here, the income that you're paying to keep him is only 1. And so now he's a permanent part of your circus. And whereas you aren't able to actually get the bonus cards anymore when you get done with your performance, you do get those points, and now he can just kind of just be there. And he still gives you a little bit of a bonus, but he doesn't cost you as much money. And this game is a lot about managing the money that your circus is making and how much it takes to maintain it in salaries each and every turn. And there's tons of different people. Here's a trapeze artist. You can see, you can see that's type it is. And these people actually earn you money. So, I mean, maybe this is somebody you're not going to want to flip right away, even though he's worth a couple of victory points. You fill him up each time. He's making you 4 coins. Yes, he does cost you 3, but at least he's making you something positive here. But eventually, you're going to have to flip him, and you can see goes down to 1, 2, and there's tons of these guys. Here's a clown, another type of a rope walker, trapeze thing, and each of these people, they do something like the strongman. Now, this is one of the more complex ones. Now, you'll notice if he's got a white cube on him, he gets you a trailer. Now, a trailer is just simply this little cardboard shit with a trailer on it. But the nice thing about the trailer is, because you've given a trailer to one of your performers, they cost 1 less income to keep with your particular circus. So if you have that and you have something flipped and they keep that trailer on them, no longer do they cost you any money. So this guy, earns you that trailer. In this case, now this means that for any one cube I turn in at the end with a 2-star performance, he will basically I can pick one of the other circus performers, or him for that matter, and that person costs no income. I don't have to pay them. And with 3, he would make it so I don't have to turn in a cube to do that. He would just automatically help me out by making sure I didn't have to pay one of the people in my circus. This is a pretty popular guy. You want this guy on your team so you don't have to spend all that money. So maybe you're not going to wait to flip him until later on in the game. There's all these different types of performers, and there's tons of these cards. And so the options that you have available to you are varied. Now, I should explain that at the beginning of the game, you get 2 of these cards. And because they're 2-sided, you deal from the bottom of the deck so nobody knows what's coming out. You get 2 of these cards, you keep one, and you pass one to your left. So there's kind of a card drafting mechanic right out of the way, but you do get 2 people in your circus right away. After that, you pick the number of these cards from the bottom of the deck. I should draw from the bottom. 4, 5. You pick a number of these cards by the number of players plus 1, and you place them on the board underneath the game board, like so. And so everybody has these available to hire if you want, and you should have them cube side up so everybody can kind of see what they earn. Now, in this case, if after one turn has gone by, let's say somebody takes the trickster and the unicyclist, so he'll slide down, and you put these tokens, a little guy on a barrel or something, on there. For each one of those tokens that you place on those cards, their hiring cost is reduced by 1. So now when you get 2 more cards, you place those down like so, and so then they're cheaper. So let's say, these 2 get taken this time. So now you add more, like so, and he gets 1, and you can see how this goes. Eventually, some of these performers won't cost anything to hire. It'll be something that you'll say, well, I'll just take it because it doesn't cost me anything. You can never get money back. You can never have so many tokens on there that you actually get a return on your hiring. But as you can see, that's how it kind of like takes the performers that maybe nobody really wants, maybe they aren't as helpful as the others, and makes it so it's worth it for you to take them. And I should note that the personnel that you take, you have as many of them as the number of players, and you do the same thing. You put those out. And the ones that aren't hired in that case, also the exact same thing happens. You add those tokens to reduce the hiring cost of those as well. So the game progresses for 3 turns of up to 7 rounds each. And then finally, at the end of the game, you earn victory points based on the number of performers that you've flipped during the course of the game. There's also some bonuses that you get as far as like having every one of your performers eventually gets the 3 cubes, so they get the 3-star performance. That's a bonus. If you have somebody of each of the different types of the different performers, that you get bonus points for that. The largest circus gets a bonus, and so on and so forth. And after that, as with any game with victory points, you total up the number, and whoever has the most wins the game. And if there's a tie, it goes to the money, of course. And I hate tiebreakers, but I thought I'd just throw that in there. All right, let me tell you exactly what I think of Drumroll, and then in my conclusion coming up right now. See, it was a drum roll. Drum roll. Anyway, all right. So you know how to play the game Drumroll. This is a game that definitely rewards repeated plays. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The first time I played the game, I played it with 4 people, and we kind of muddled through the rules, like in the very first kind of round or 2. We're kind of like, what do we do here? How does this work? Give me the rules, And once we got the rule set down pretty well, we were going through the rounds really, really well. And then we got done with the game, and we totaled the points. I don't remember who won. I might have. I honestly don't remember. And I kind of just sat there and I thought, well, it wasn't bad, I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And then, another week went by, and and somebody said, let's play that drum roll game again. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And so I played it again, and I was like, huh, this game's actually kind of neat. I kind of got the whole the cube synergy down a little more. I kind of was able to work some long-term strategy, as far as the game is concerned. And it kind of started shining for me. And then I played it again, and then it was really starting to click for me. And then I took it to a convention, actually. And I played it a few times at a convention. And right about halfway through the first game when I played it at the convention, I got that weird thing where I'm smiling and I'm playing the game. And I don't even realize I'm smiling. I'm just having that much fun. Everything's kind of clicking, and everything's moving, and everything's working together. And I realized that I kind of was expecting something that this game wasn't. When they say worker placement, I'm thinking, okay, just go here, collect the resources, do that, get that card, do this, do that, and just try to expand. But it does something different that I hadn't really either experienced before in another game, or it did something different in a way that it was innovative for me. And it's a game that, like, you have to maximize your cubes, and you have to maximize the usage of your cubes. But unlike a lot of games where you collect resources, where the resources are very simply gained. I mean, that doesn't mean that necessarily that it isn't hard to get them. But I mean, the route to get them is very evident to you, and there's certain things that obstruct that path. In this game, there really isn't a good route to get the cubes. I mean, there's those spots where you can get one cube and one cube only, but that's just not enough. I mean, especially since everybody takes that spot almost immediately when they're placing their workers. That isn't enough. I mean, you need to come up with other ways to gain those cubes, and so then you realize that you have to get those personnel that can change the cube into something else. You got to get those investment cards that'll help you gain more. You got to get the right people working for your circus that are able to get you those cubes, or turn those cubes into something else, or get you money and things like that. And I realize that it's a game of optimization and a game of almost, in a way, sort of micromanagement and long-term planning. And I didn't expect it. I didn't expect the game to be that deep. And when I say, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't think the game really is that deep. It isn't like Democker or anything like that. And okay, I mean, I'll buy into that, and I'll give you that. But this game has a lot more depth than at least I originally gave it for. And after I played it a few times, it kind of was a good eye-opener. It was kind of a good kind of smack in the face, if you will. Just kind of like you were ready to poo-poo the game and just move on and just say, it's just another Euro. But then after I gave it a few more shots, the book kind of opened up and it sort of presented itself to me. And honestly, it hits the table more often than not during my game nights with my group, because we've all kind of got that same level of competence with it. And it's a fun little race. It's a fun little brutal, chasing each other down, trying to just do the best we can. There isn't a lot of player interaction, obviously. I mean, you can take the spots other people want, but there really is for the most part, though, it's kind of a race to just see who can get the best circus. I mean, obviously the theme is a little tacked on, but I mean, the theme actually works really well with this game. But see who can get the best circus in a limited amount of time. And that game really is really limited. I mean, you only get those 3 turns, and you only have a certain amount of time to build yourself up, to get to that point. And really, I mean, the points from the performers are like the obvious way to get points, but it's those points at the end, the bonus points for having, the biggest circus, or having one of each of the performers, and so on and so forth, that really are the ones that usually, in our experience, are the game changers. So, I guess if you like resource management and allocation and optimization and worker placement, I heartily recommend Drumroll. It sucks that right now it's kind of tough to get a hold of. I mean, you have to kind of go overseas. I know they're in talks with a American publisher right now, and I should say it's tough if you're in America if you want to get a hold of the game. But you can get it, I know, but you're gonna have to pay a little bit of money to actually get it in your hands. But I do know they're in talks with an American publisher, and hopefully moving forward, this is a game that will have more widespread publication and be more readily available to everyone, if you will. So there you go. That's Drumroll. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. If you could, please check out my podcast that I have with Marco Arnaudo and Joel Eddy, hosted at 2d6.org, an awesome little website that has a ton of other really, really cool reviews and whatnot going on there. But mostly, I have my cool podcast that we do bi-weekly, and I really, really appreciate if you tune into that and check out to see what the three of us have to say about this board gaming hobby of ours. But regardless, leave your comments, concerns, ideas, what have you below. I will try to answer them as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And until next time, this is Undead Viking, and you take care of yourself. I'll see you around. I'll see you the next review. Talk to you later.